to another edition of Mike and Mike's Off-Air Podcast. Mike Pesto
And Mike O'Neill. Afternoons. Afternoon.
Because I found out if both of these are picking up here, I sound echoey, so I just have to turn this off until we actually record. So
Okay.
all right. Take two. Well, no, take two. I didn't remember which camera. I don't look at this one. That would be odd. All right, here we go. Time for another round of Mike and Mike's Off-Air Podcast. Mike Pesto.
And Mike O'Neill here from the new My 97.5.
So you've walked past, I'm talking with Mike O'Neill right now, and how much time have you actually spent in our new studio?
This is it so far. I mean, I've been in here before, but not since it was the new My 97.5 studio. It's nice. It's big. It's comfortable. Look at me sitting here in my big chair.
And we have two microphones now.
That's nice.
It's a novelty.
Very, very nice. Yeah, it's not the size of a shoe closet, which is nice. I like it.
It's nice is that when guests do come by now, because every once in a while, some dignitaries will come by, guests that can go in the other stations, the other studios we have here with Momentum Broadcasting, and I've always had to tell them, well, I just have the one microphone, so unless you want me putting my arm around you and you put your arm around me and we snuggle, give me a call later and I can record a conversation with you that way. So now we can welcome guests to our studio.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Who knows? Who knows? You might be talking to Billy Ocean in here. Is he still alive?
I believe so.
Well, because if he is, then you might be. If not, you're going to have to call your friend.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the only way you're going to be talking to him. And it's the best I can do for
The
you.
Hanford Medium.
That's right.
So yeah, this is it's an adjustment, kind of getting used to everything in here, but it's been fun. Something else that was fun, and I don't know if you've seen the little clip yet with Dave Dravecky, pitcher for the Giants. Now, have you seen the little snippet? Now, the snippet was 4 minutes. If you could have seen and been there for the entire speech that he gave, he was the motivational speaker, guest speaker, if you will, at Scarlet Parks Foundation's big fundraiser last Saturday. And I knew of his story. If you don't know, he was a former pitcher with the San Francisco Giants. He had cancer. The doctors told him he'll never pitch again, that his career is over. And he thought, nope, I'm not going out this way. I've always been a pitcher. I'm going to come back. I'm going to beat this thing, and did. And 10 months, think of it, a cancer diagnosis, a huge lump in his pitching arm.
All right.
10 months later, came back, pitched a game at Candlestick against the Reds, won the game, was back to his old form. I mean, we're not talking borderline Cy Young pitcher, if not right there. One of the best of the best. His next start in Montreal, Canada, on the mound, Tim Raines, hitter for the Expos, is at bat. Dave Dravecky throws a pitch, breaks his arm.
Right.
Right then and there, he heard the snap. He heard it. In fact, I've got a friend of mine who watched the game live. He swears he heard the snap of his arm. Broke his arm, found out the cancer was back. Arm had to be amputated.
Ugh.
Pitching career over at that point, obviously. And through the grace of God, became a Christian, hardcore Christian before any of this happened, relied on his faith to get him through it.
I'll bet.
Talked about the ups and downs, mentioned that he has anger issues, referred to it as his Mount Vesuvius, and said that he had explosions here, there, and everywhere at first. He's controlled those.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Do I, honey? I'm saying that to my wife. She's looking at me from across town going, yeah, sure you know.
Yeah, we know that about him.
Yeah,
But
okay.
everything that and then he brought it all back to the Rett families, those who have daughters for the most part that have Rett syndrome, and what their struggles have been like. The way he tied it all together was just phenomenal.
I hear he's an incredible speaker.
Yeah, why he didn't get a standing ovation, I'm not sure, but he did get an ovation afterwards, and couldn't have been a nicer guy. Signed everything, was a part of the entire evening from beginning to end. Didn't
Nice.
just show up for his portion of it and then leave. I mean,
That's nice, though.
and so the 1 minute or the 4 minutes that you'll see online was incredible. If you ever get a chance to see him, please do.
And he's a baseball guy's guy.
Yeah.
Because he knows that folks that follow baseball like you and I do know that they're going to look forward to meeting him, and so he spends the time, and that's really appreciated.
Yeah, and the fact that he could tie into those who, in fact, I think at some point either he asked or Don, who put together Scarlet Parks Foundation, asked how many are you familiar with Dave Dravecki, and not everyone there in the place raised their hand, but they got to know him that night.
Yeah. Those are the speakers you want to experience.
Yeah, so if you get a chance to ever see him as a public speaker at some point, great. If not, you can see 4 minutes of what he had to say that night as our video of the week this week at my975fm.com.
It's a worthwhile listen. Check it.
You've got some big news.
Well, finally, drum roll, please. We being my wife and I, are empty nesters. Ta-da! Finally, I moved my my younger. I didn't do anything. They moved back. My wife. I'm getting confused here. My daughter and her husband and my grandson. We moved them in for a year and change so they could save and buy their new build, which they did. They moved out over the last weekend, and we were sitting there last night about 8:30, and I looked at my wife and said, "Do you hear that sound? You know what that is?" She's strained. It's quiet. It's quiet. You better get used to that. And it's really cool. I mean, I love my girls. I love my son. My son will always be with us, my special 25-year-old. But both of my daughters are in their own places and in their own lives, and what a blessing.
Now, it was a new build, you said, so they're the first ones to live in it.
Oh,
brand new neighborhood and everything?
I'll tell you what, my youngest daughter's first house was a lot better than mine.
Wow.
I mean, and mine wasn't crap by any means. They've got a beautiful 2-story, about 1,700 squares up and down, nice driveway, nice landscaping, nice everything, alarm system, solar, all the bells and whistles. All the new houses come with everything now.
Yeah, they have. Well, especially here in the Valley, I forget what percentage of new homes have to have solar. And did you mention if it's a 2-story?
It is 2-story, but it's a smart 2-story.
Okay.
I've got. Have you been in my living room?
I have not seen the outside of the house.
I've got a ridiculous. I love it, but I don't like cooling and heating it. It's vaulted.
A vaulted ceiling.
And
Okay.
So I air condition about 4.5 square feet straight up in the air of nothing that anyone can ever live in. And it's just expensive, but their house is very practical. 8 feet ceiling, except when you come up the stairs. But even that's fairly narrow and contained. And when you come up into it's really nice. Laundry rooms upstairs, it all makes a lot of sense.
It's such a foreign concept to me when we lived in an apartment complex behind Wiltshire Ford. I forget the name of that
I know
complex
where that is.
that's there. Yeah, we lived there for a while after my daughter was born. And they had a stacked washing machine and dryer in the rental unit that we had, and it was also upstairs. It seems odd to me to have your quote-unquote utility room on the second floor, but that's where the bedrooms are.
If you think about it, your clothes really shouldn't be going downstairs on their own unless your shirt falls off. And it just in terms of workflow, it actually makes sense. You don't have to haul baskets up and down and all around. But I'm not used to it because it's not us. Ours is right off the kitchen.
Now, how nerve-wracking was it for you and your wife those days, weeks, months leading up to knowing it's just going to be the two of you again? I've heard horror stories of couples that identify themselves as a dad. I'm a dad.
I know what
I'm
you
more
mean.
of a dad than a husband. So when my children move out, who am I now, and who's this stranger I'm sharing a house with?
No. Colleen and I, blessed, knock on wood. See, I'm knocking on wood. No, we went through something like what you're talking about almost 13 years ago.
Okay.
We got to a point at the end of their teen years when we'd been so busy. They were a lot of work, especially my oldest. They were a lot of work, and they are.
Would they admit that at this point?
Oh, yeah. And my mom is trying to call me right now. Look who's talking! I was not a pleasure. I was not easy. But the point is we were so busy raising them and trying to, we did counseling to acquire new skills and to be the best we could and to do it. And going through all of that, we realized we had drifted very far apart. And we went through a great deal of counseling to get back to to where we wanted to be. And we found we had a lot. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but we basically we got to the point where we realized we really didn't have a very adult understanding of relationship. We learned a lot. We educated ourselves a lot. And in the whole thing, we discovered, we are who we want to be with. We got together legitimately. We've just drifted apart. Let's get back together. And we did. And so, no, believe you me, we are 100% ready.
Okay.
Last night was a perfect example. I turned to her and I said, this reminds me, it was Sunday actually, the day after they were gone.
Okay.
I said, this reminds me so much of when we first got together Sundays. We were just doing nothing in particular. The house is clean because nobody's running through and trashing it. And just cooking and doing stuff. There's not 3 other people using our washer and dryer.
Yeah.
Cooking and cleaning up or not. And it was just peaceful and lovely, actually. We're going to be fine. I'm going to have to find something to do when I retire so I don't drive her crazy. But we're going to be good. We're going to be just fine. We're looking forward to traveling. Not like to Antarctica, but little trips here and there and just doing stuff whimsically together because we can.
See, that's so important, I think. Now, you said that there was a patch where you kind of had to get back to each other.
It's called work.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a point that in marriage a lot of couples forget. I love my wife, but she seems to have the thinking at times, if it's meant to work out, it's just supposed to supposed to be. She hates that I use analogies because that's how my brain works. If I don't get something, I'll create an analogy and then it clicks in for me. And I know there are others that works that way as well. The example that I used was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was blessed beyond being blessed with being able to play basketball. But if you watch any documentary on YouTube or anywhere else, he had, I think, an older brother who pushed him so hard. Not him actually pushing him, but he wanted to be better than his brother. And then when he was better than his brother, he wanted to be better than anybody else on his team. And when he was better than anybody else on his team, he wanted to be better than anybody else of all the teams that they played. And he always saw another challenge to push himself, to practice harder than anybody else did. I kind of look at marriages the same way, and correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, you've got a base of love, but then it's the work that gets put in. It's the same thing with being a parent or being a professional, being a broadcaster. You may have been blessed with abilities that other people haven't, but what are you doing to nurture those?
You have to grow together, guys. And the trick is emotions, while they're important, they're tremendous liars. I can love my wife passionately and ferociously in one moment and want to scream at her the next because your emotions, they lie to you. They're just feelings. Attraction, feelings, that's how you get to the party. Love is a decision, and a decision requires work. Whether you like the sound of that or not, it might not make a very good Hallmark greeting card, but it is the truest truth there is. You don't fall in love. You don't fall out of love. Little bit at a time, you make a decision as you're getting closer to somebody, as they do something nice for you, as you do something nice for them, as the relationship grows. You little by little make a decision to love this person until you get to the point where you're, crap, that's when you realize I love you. Mm-hmm. But you've been making this decision a little bit at a time, commensurately, like us 13 years ago, because of something I may have done or said, or something she may have done or said, or something I may have forgotten to do, or something she may have forgotten to do. Little by little, you make the decision to not be where you were. But you can remake those decisions again. It's not, oh, we're out of love. Sorry, we're done. Next.
Yeah.
That is not how it works. Now, that's not to say that if there's violent abuse involved or virulent alcoholism that won't be treated, you have the right to protect yourself and make a healthy decision. But in terms of two healthy people that got started in the right way, attracted to each other and wanted to be together, you can make the decision to love again. And let me tell you, we had a second honeymoon 13 years ago, which was like anything either one of us expected to get. I just wanted to be happy again. I didn't think I was going to have this gonzo month that came. It was really lovely. So yeah, I think you're hearing me and you get where I'm going with this.
Did you get all that?